All right, 5 years ago, we bought this 71 acres for hunting, and it had been clear cut 3 or 4 years before we bought it. The previous owner clear cut it. I see this happening a lot. As a drive around, I'm sure you see it too. Properties getting clear cut. The owners, harvesting the timber for the money, and then they put the land up for sale. It's always cheaper than a mature stand of timber, and that's honestly that's why we bought it, because this land had been clear cut and was cheaper. It was the most acres that we could get for our budget. So we've owned it for 5 years. I wanted to share with you a couple things we've learned during that time about owning a property like this. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is how quickly a property can change. It was eye-opening for me how much it could change just over the course of a year. When we look at the footage on the screen right now, I'm showing you on the left was from the day that we first toured the property. You can see the pine trees were, I'm going to say, average of 3 to 4 feet tall. Compared to today, 5 years later, a lot of these trees are 15 to 20 foot tall. When we first bought this property, you could stand right here on this ridge that we're on, and you could see all the way across the property, hundreds of yards that way you could see, whereas now you can't see, 20 feet into the woods. Each year, the deer respond to this growth differently, so they start using and traveling the property differently each year, and I never realized that was going to happen. Let me go to a food plot. I got a prime example I want to show you. All right, let's talk about changes how the deer use the property. But this food plot was here when we bought this property, and those first 2 hunting seasons, you could bank on it. If you saw a deer, it was going to come in from that south end down there. But now, this year, we didn't see a single deer come in down there. Now, they like to use this road right here to enter the field. And if we step in the woods down there, I'll show you why I think that is. So, 5 years ago, when all the deer were coming in from this end of the food plot, all those trees were 3 or 4 foot tall. Real easy to walk through. Your sunlight's hitting the ground. You got a lot of food back in there. And now with these trees being 15, 20 feet tall and super thick, you look through there, all you see is pine straw. There's no food in there. There's really no reason for deer to be in there. And they're not using this section of the property right now. So I would call that, changing how the deer use the property. Something I never thought about, I didn't expect. All right, let's talk about change for the good. Man, the good thing about having these trees being so small like this, if you want to change the way something looks, it is super easy to do. You can, a bulldozer can clear them out really quickly. Of course, they make big piles. You can do a lot with a chainsaw really quickly, but again, you have big piles of everything you cut down is going to be trees laying on the ground. But man, if you get a mulcher, that's what we've enjoyed having out here. They can just turn everything into mulch and very quickly clear out some property. If you're looking at a property that it looks like a mess while you're buying it, just keep in mind, if it's young, that all this small brush and small trees are really, really easy to change when they're that small. All right, so what I'd say an example of a good change from year to year is right here behind me, when we discovered that the property had chestnut trees already on it. So you can see it's tall now, but a couple years ago, we were riding down the road here and the limbs were overhanging, and we saw that they were loaded down with chestnuts. And what it was, the trees had got old enough. A chestnut tree starts producing after, I want to say, 5 to 7 years old, something like that. And these chestnut trees, it was their first year to start making. And so then we started specifically looking for the trees, and we started putting a pink ribbon on every one that we found. You can see them up there. There's 3 up there. And then that spring, we waited through hunting season. We came back, we had all the trees marked, and we took a chainsaw and cleared out all around them. Now, I did this 2 years ago. You can see we're starting to get some more trees coming back up. I need to do it again. But every year we found something new. Every season, the more time you spend in the woods each year, the more stuff like this that you're going to find. It's really cool aspect of it. It's really fun and enjoyable to see and just make those discoveries of what's new in the property. All right, the second thing to consider when you're if you're looking to own a property like this that's clear cut, is the amount of time it takes to maintain a property. And I'm mainly talking about like the road systems. Like if you're gonna pay, like we had a mulcher make this road for us through the trees. You know, it was solid trees like this. We had them make this road for us. But you can see how all these vegetation, all the limbs, all the briars, everything wants to grow out towards the middle of the road. Because if you look up, I mean, there's no canopy. So this thing gets full sunlight all summer long. When you're getting those afternoon rain thunderstorms and that sun, when it's super hot, all this stuff just grows like crazy, man. So it'll take over a road like this. A year's time is nothing for all this stuff to reach across this road. If you're looking at buying a property like this and it's not close to your house, if it's a couple hours away, this is definitely something you want to think about. You're going to have this vegetation growing over your roads every year. You're going to have to do something to keep it pushed back. Whether that's spraying, glyphosate to try to keep it beat back, or a bush hog to mow it, whatever the case, you can't go for so long. I'm going to say at a minimum once a year, you're going to have to clear these things back out, or it's just going to be taken over. The other thing that's time consuming is dealing with erosion. This property is kind of hilly, and when you get big rains, it's mainly our roads, but it's going to do a number and wash them away a little bit. That's another thing that you're going to have to account for. You're going to have to spend some time, whether that's hiring a bulldozer every 2 years, somebody with a small dozer to come fix your roads, or if you want to rent a tractor and a box blade and fix them yourself. It's just something to think about. It's definitely something that I didn't realize going into buying a property, was that you're going to have things like that take up a good bit of time, and there's going to be, to do it right, you need a couple trips a year of focus just maintaining the property. Well guys, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a little something. I just wanted to share some lessons learned, and good luck on your property, man. I would definitely encourage buying a clear-cut property like this. It's been very enjoyable for us. I like the change. I like the learning, seeing the difference every year. It's been a lot of fun for sure. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.